going on, everybody? It is Tuesday afternoon here. It's July 14th, and we're gonna go try to cut wheat again. And by try, I mean we're gonna cut wheat. We're getting pretty nervous here. It's getting late, mid-July here, that we're gonna run out of time with this wheat. So even if it's pretty wet, we're gonna go try to cut some. So let's go do it. So guys, while I'm waiting on the truck to build air here, kind of give you a little bit of understanding of what's actually happening here. So in order for us to sell wheat, it needs to be around 13% moisture, okay? Well, we can put it in our bins at like 15, 16% and run the stirrators and bring heat to it and dry it down to that 13%. That's not a problem. But the issue is that becomes expensive. And if you get into like 20% or 21% moisture, it's even more difficult to get dried down to that 13%. So most farmers, and it seems like everybody around us, just waits and then they cut their wheat at 13% or even 11 or 12. And everybody around us has been able to do that. Well, our wheat is still wet. I'm not really sure why, but we're kind of behind everybody else. But you know, that's part of farming. So ultimately, guys, the biggest reason we're going to go after it, even with it being as wet as it is just basically out of fear that the wheat will sprout. So what does that really mean? So if you leave a wheat crop out in the field long enough and it gets dry enough like it is now, and then it rains and it keeps raining and you can't get back to get to the wheat, the heads of the wheat themselves, the little seeds in the head, will start to germinate and sprout. And if that happens, the wheat it's worthless. You can't do anything with it. You can't sell it. It has no nutritional value. It's essentially just stalks. You know, it's not worth anything. And so out of fear of that happening and waiting too long, we're gonna go get it. Because there's actually, when my granddad was farming, he actually had that happen to him once. He was cutting some wheat. It was like 16, 18%. They were gonna wait till it dried down. Well, then it rained for a week and a half, and then it sprouted on them, and they got nothing out of it. And so we always have that in the back of our minds, and because of that, we're gonna go after it, and we're just gonna get started today, and we're just gonna pay the money to get it dried down. It's just part of the risk we take, but it's better to have wheat and spend a little money to dry it down than have nothing at all. So, well, my air's built in my truck. We can head to the wheat field and see how wet it really is. Hopefully, we can be under that 18 number. I'd love to see 16, but we'll find out. Let's go. All right, guys. So we're back out in the wheat field. Same one we tried in the last video here. We'll get another sample. I got a bucket this time instead of using my hat. And we'll see what we can do. See how wet it's gonna be. Dad fired the combine up. Try some wheat. Straw field's really still pretty damp. Not as bad as the other day, but still fairly damp. Better, definitely a little bit better. We'll see what the wheat says. Well, got our sample back at our hopper. Now just to see what it does. By biting it, I'm gonna guess 16.5. So guys, at 16%, this wheat here's, we ain't gonna cut this field. This field, guys, is actually seed wheat. So it's gonna go to a plant where it'll get redistributed to farmers next year to grow. But in order for us to take it there, it needs to be 13%. And it's just this 40-acre field behind me. So we're gonna move across the street into a 90-acre field that's just a regular variety of wheat that we can put in our bin and we can dry down. So we're actually gonna get to cut some wheat today. So I'm gonna move the truck, head over there, and we'll cut some wheat. All right, guys, so he's actually in the field now cutting wheat, and because the field is so long, he's not going to be able to go make it around, go down and back, and not overfill his grain hopper on the combine. So we're gonna go get the grain cart, and we'll park it at one end of the field. He can make a pass, dump into the grain cart, turn around, make a pass, dump into the truck. And when the grain cart gets full, we'll put it in the truck and haul it home. But that's a good sign. That means the wheat's pretty decent. But it's also the one of, if not the longest field we have. There's some passes in it that are almost 3,000 feet long, which, you know, to my friends out west, out in Kansas, that's nothing. But for us in Ohio with small fields, it's pretty big. But so I'm heading out into the machinery shed here. We'll get the grain cart and we'll head down there. So we've got the 9882 on the grain cart. Had this hooked up the other day just in case we ran into problems. But we've got a 1084 Brent cart. There you go. It's on track, so that helps a lot with the compaction. And the coolest thing about this grain cart, guys, is the auger actually tips up and down. So when you're loading the trucks, it's really, really easy. Our old grain cart had one position, and then you'd have to drive the tractor and the cart according. But with this, it's a lot easier, it's a lot faster, and a lot bigger cart, so it's pretty nice. But it's a good thing we got to use it. And let's take her to the field. One of the nice things, guys, about running the grain cart tractor is you're high. And so when you're high up on the roof like this, you can kind of look over to the corn and get a kind of a bird's eye view from above. It may be kind of hard to see, guys, but there's actually 16 rows of each variety planted throughout this field. So you can kind of see, I think, the color changes every 16 rows here. That's because we have two different varieties of corn here that make up the best cow feed possible. And when you're on the ground or in your car, you really can't see the variety differences like you can from being up here. So it's pretty cool. So guys, in a change of plans, once I already got the grain cart to the field, my dad said he didn't want to run the grain cart. Instead, we're going to park the trucks halfway in the field. So instead of driving one end and dumping on each end, we'll just dump in the middle, then bring the trucks home when he's got them full. So that'll work. Would have been nice for him to say that before I drove the grain cart out there, but at least you guys got to see corn from the top view of the grain cart. So I guess it all works out. Oh, got the truck parked in the field halfway. The worst part of this flawless plan that my dad has contrived here is that the truck driver is going to keep having to walk half the distance of the field until we get the trucks caught up with each other. So walking we will go. But I guess while we're walking, we might as well show you the wheat while we're here. So there it is, guys. It's not too bad. We like to pride ourselves here in growing really good wheat, and we screwed up a couple things this year with our wheat, so that's kind of upsetting. It's not going to be as record-breaking as we'd like it to be. We usually like to grow wheat at like 100, 105 bushel, and our early yield projections show that we're going to be somewhere around that 85 number, which, I mean, isn't bad. We're still going to make money. We're still going to profit on this, you know, and we're still going to feed people, bottom line. But we, like I said earlier, we pride ourselves in our ability to grow, you know, some of the best wheat around, and we just didn't get it this year. But that's part of farming. You always have another year to try again, do a little better, feed a few more people that way. Grain cart sitting over there that we're not going to use, but oh well. If that's the worst thing that happens today, I'll have a pretty good day. But we can get this truck home, get it weighed, get it unloaded, put the first wheat of 2020 in the bin. Let's go. So guys, I'm in the scale house now. You can see there's our old scale, but there's the good scale right there. And here's our very old computer. But the best part about this computer, guys, it has Excel. I don't have to write stuff on hand. It's old, it's ugly, but it works. So we'll just fill out our information and we'll unload the truck. Now we're running wheat again. First wheat of 2020 going into bid. So all of our wheat, guys, except for the little bit of wheat that we're growing for seed wheat this year, goes out to Western Ohio to a flour mill. So all the wheat we grow gets turned into flour. Maybe it ends up in bread. Maybe it ends up just in bags of flour that you buy in the store. We don't really know after that, but it all goes to a flour mill. So, making bread. Guys, load 3, getting the moisture on it. The last load was like 14.8, so it is getting drier as the day goes, but we're getting close to where the moisture will start going the other way now, getting later in the afternoon. But see what we got here. If we're lucky, we'll have 14 flat maybe. Nope, 14.7. She's just about done getting any drier today, so. But that's not bad. Only have to remove a point, 2 points, you know, 2.5 points. That's not too bad. We can do that with the stirrators fairly cheaply, so that won't be too terrible. So all in all, it's going to be a good day. We'll keep cutting. Well, he's about full, guys. So you can see the grain coming out the top of the auger there. Not the top of the auger, out the top of his hopper. He'll come over and fill the rest of this truck in. Beautiful day, guys.